those of you who don't know me, my name is Brian Wyatt. I am the president and CEO of Be Easy Graphics. We are a creative and marketing agency, and I lead a team of visual storytellers who believe that every brand has a story. That's why we're actively working to help build, create, and share those brand stories with scroll-stopping visual experiences, click-worthy websites, and ROI-focused marketing strategies. And we want to help you. So that's why every Wednesday I come on here at about 3:30 p.m. to drop some marketing tips and advice to help you grow your business online. All right, kick this off. I'm just going to give you a few tips today to help you with creating a brand and content that people will love. Okay. If you're having some trouble connecting with your customers and getting people to like, comment, and share and engage with your content, then this video is for you. Okay. If you're having trouble with closing deals, you're sending out proposals and offers, but people are like, no, or they're not saying anything at all, this video is for you. All right. And if you're a entrepreneur or business owner who's pretty much got a handle on things, everything's going pretty well, but you're always looking to improve and grow, then this video is for you. All right. So this video is pretty much for everyone who is in business and is building a brand. And I'm here to help you. I am a brand architect and marketing strategist. I have a head full of ideas, strategies, and things that sometimes I just need to get off my chest and get out of my head and talk about them and do some examples. So that's the reason why I come on here live every Wednesday at 3:30, and I'll keep this up for as long as I can. But in the meantime, we're gonna jump into some of these strategies, right, on how to create a brand and content that people will love. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen and share with you a few things that will help you make this happen, okay? I'm gonna take the next 15 to 20 minutes to go over some strategies to help you with creating content in a brand that people will love, okay? So here's the big thing, right? So if you don't hear anything else from me today, right? And this is something that I shared with my people in Acceleration Nation yesterday for Tip Tuesday. Remember this, right? If you take away nothing from this entire video, remember this. Lead with empathy, okay? Lead with empathy. I'll tell you why this is important, right? People want to do business with people, not brands, not robots, blah, blah, blah. They want to connect with people, okay? And in connecting with people, the reason why they want to connect with people is because people can understand other people better than robots, emails, or things in other electronics can. So they want to actually talk to a person. They want to engage in email conversations with a person. They want to engage in face-to-face conversations with a person. They want to shake hands, give hugs, and just vent, right? Vent how they're feeling, all the problems and things they're facing. So people want to do business with people because people are able to understand feelings. And that process of understanding another person's feelings is either sympathy or empathy, right? And of course, there's a difference between the two. Sympathy means that, oh, okay, that sounds like it's pretty tough, right? I feel bad for you. I'm sorry for you, right? But empathy is on a different level. Empathy is when you take your experience, right? You take yourself and you put yourself in someone else's shoes. And in doing so, you're able to better understand the exact problems and goals and motivations that a person has and be able to connect with them on a deeper level than on the surface with sympathy or any other kind of connection, right? And that empathy is what takes brands to a whole nother level. That's what creates brand affinity. When you can empathize with the customer, or a member in your audience, right? You can almost anticipate what their next step or next move is going to be. When you can anticipate what their next move or next step is going to be, that's when you can send them the right message at the right time, okay? So again, big tip here that you want to take away is lead with empathy. If you understand this and if you're feeling this right now, type lead with empathy in the comments below. I need to make sure that y'all grab that before I move forward because that's what this is about, right? You need to lead with empathy. That's where love comes from, right? Like if you ever been in a relationship with someone that you love, it's often because you all were able to share some experiences together, share some memories. And in that memory and that experience, you both were feeling the same thing. And when you're both feeling the same thing, you can understand them and connect with them on a deeper level than someone who they just met or someone who only cares about their money or someone who only cares about, the benefits of the relationship. You don't want to be friends with benefits, right? You want to have a deeper connection with your customers because you want to keep them coming back over and over again and refer other customers and clients. So lead with empathy is the big takeaway for this video. That's how you create a brand and content that people will love. Now, how do you empathize with the customer, right? I'm going to show you a few tools that we use in order to help our clients empathize with the customer, right? And these are some tools that I've shared with our Acceleration Nation people. So if you're not a member of Acceleration Nation, you need to hit me up in the comments, because we're always dropping some knowledge and tools in there. And I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to do it. So if you're interested in joining Acceleration Nation, again, hit me up in the comments and you'll get access to these tools for free. And you can do all this yourself, right? Because you may not be in a position to just hire us to do all your marketing, but if you want to do it yourself, you want to do it right. So until then, I'm going to share my screen and show you exactly one of the tools that we use in order to build empathy with your audience. Okay, so right now, one of the tools that we use is called mapping the buyer's journey, right? So we created this template for our clients, and we work on this before we take on any kind of marketing project, right? And so we help our clients with understanding and mapping the buyer's journey. What is the buyer's journey, right? Here's the big thing, right? This is the one thing that most businesses get wrong. Buyers don't want to be prospected, demoed, closed, presentations, right? When they're first getting introduced with you, they don't want all that formalities, right? They just want to connect with the person. And so they go through several processes and steps in order to become aware of, consider, and evaluate, and then eventually decide on whether or not they're going to purchase a new product or service, right? And that entire process is called the buyer's journey. You want to understand the buyer's journey for your buyers and your customers and your audience so that you know exactly when to engage them so that you can attract them with the right message at the right time. And the best way to do this is through empathizing with them, right? So there are a few things to consider, right? The buyer's journey consists of three things. There's the awareness stage, right? And then there's the consideration stage. And then there's the decision stage. What's the difference? All right. The awareness stage is when the buyer realizes that they have a problem and they probably can't solve it themselves, right? So this is when they start to look for external sources like a product or a service to help them with that problem. That's when you can start to engage and attract to your audience by positioning yourself. Hey, are you frustrated with mops that get dirty every time you mop the floor? And then the next time you mop it, it smells like the bottom of someone's foot. Well, we've got a mop that is self-cleaning, blah, blah, blah. That's why a lot of those infomercials start with that question, because they're tapping into the mindset and the experience of the customer, because they're selling the experience, not the product. They lead with the why and the experience, not just the mop. The mop just comes later, right? Or the product or the service comes later. But the first thing that is usually introduced in really good ads and really good content is the experience that shows that you're able to empathize with your audience, okay? So that's the awareness stage. The consider stage is when, hey, I realized I got a problem, let me explore my options. So now that they're able to define their problem, they're gonna start doing research and looking in various places to find solutions for it. Now, the way the buyer defines the problem is extremely important, because that's exactly how they're gonna search for it. For example, one of the things that is in the title of this video is how to create a brand that people will love. Where did I get that from? I literally found that in the Google search. This is a Google search that people search for, how to create a brand that people will love. So now, by putting this out on Facebook, when people search that in Facebook or Google, right, this video is going to show up somewhere in the results, because this is literally how a buyer defines their problem in branding. How do I create a brand that people will love? You need to be able to do the same thing and create content that literally has those words in it. So if you're an event planner like Adrian, then someone might be asking, how do I decorate a table for a banquet? You want to make sure that you create videos and content and ebooks that has those exact words in it, because that's how your buyer defines the problem. And if you're able to create content that has that in there, then if like, hey, Adrian already gets me. Why am I going searching around for anyone else when she's got the exact answer that I'm looking for right here, right now, right? So that's the importance of understanding the consideration phase. And then the decision phase is when, you know, they just ultimately make a decision on who they're going to buy from. And there's some things that you can do in between then, and I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But first, during the awareness stage, you want to clearly understand how your buyers describe their goal or challenge. So it's the same thing that I just said, right? How to, it might be, can I, or what are some examples of, or what is the best? How do they define the problem or the goal that they have? So you got to ask yourself that question. And then based on that question, in this template that we have for the buyer's journey, you would just fill in the answers on the next page, on page 4. All right, the next question you want to ask is, where would they look for solutions? Obviously, 85% of customers are going to look online before they even make a phone call, right? Or start calling around. I mean, very few people use yellow pages anymore. I don't even think we have one in the house. If you have a yellow pages in your house, type yellow pages in the comment. I'm just curious who still uses yellow and white pages, because it's been probably almost a decade since I used a yellow page book or a white page. But if you still use a yellow page book, type yellow page in the comments. I need to know who's stuck in the ice age. Anyway, where would they look for solutions? So you literally have to list the exact platforms, right? Don't just say social media. Type in the platform, Facebook, right? Because Facebook has a search function. You can go up there to the search bar, or it might be up there. I don't know how you're looking at this, or it might be right above me. But you can go directly to the search bar and ask a question, and you might find content that answers that question, right? So Facebook, Google, people might go to yellowpages.com, right? Where would they look for solutions? They might ask a friend. They might ask for recommendations on Facebook. You have to be able to find and determine where they're going to look for solutions by putting yourself in their shoes. If I had this problem, where would I look? Who would I ask, right? Based on that, you should be able to write responses, and you want to make sure that you have content and maybe even collateral, like print collateral, in the places where people are going to look. What are the consequences if they don't find an answer, right? If they don't buy something to help them with this, what's the worst case scenario? Okay, you have to explore that. What's the doomsday scenario? If I don't get this figured out, I'm gonna go nuts. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna, I don't want to be joke around about this, so I'm gonna find another example. But if I don't find a summer activity for my kids, I'm gonna bang my head against the wall 10 times. It's gonna be a hole in the wall behind me, right? So that's how I feel, right? Because right now we got 3 in the house, but when the other 7 come and things start to get crazy, I'm gonna run, I don't know, I'm gonna run around the house 12 times. I'm gonna just go nuts. I'm gonna go crazy. What is the worst case solution, right? Because now you can use that doomsday scenario in your content. You can say, hey, stop banging your head on the wall and click here to learn how to wash walls without getting soap scum, or use fragrance-free sensitive skin lotion, right? Stop scratching. You have to figure out what the consequences are, what the doomsday, what's the worst case scenario, and use that in your content in order to empathize and connect with your body. If this is good, I think this is good, but maybe I'm just full of myself. But if this is helpful, if this is good for you all, let me know in the comments below, because this is kind of how we get on point with our marketing, right? So there's several other questions that we ask in order to help you kind of map your buyer's journey. And then you answer the questions on page 4. And then after you answer the questions, you figure out how you're going to respond to that need. How are you going to respond to that challenge, to that goal? How are you going to respond to that answer, okay? So that's what this is about. And I love this for that reason, because I like, it's psychology. Like a lot of marketing, people will tap into actual neuroscience and they go really deep with this. I'm not that deep. That's a rabbit hole for me. If I start getting into neuroscience, you won't see me for like 3 months, right? Because I'll be studying, I'll come out with a PhD in neuroscience or something. So I'm gonna just leave that part alone, but I want you to get into the part that there's a psychology behind everything in marketing, advertising, and design, right? Everything about colors, the type of words that you use, the order of the words, it all has a purpose, right? It all is designed in order to engage the user, the visitor, or the buyer, and change their behavior. So this behavior-based marketing is at the core of everything that we do at BEZ Graphix. And that's where it gets fun for us, because now you're not just marketing because you're desperate to get money. You're marketing and knowing that it's going to work, because if it was you, you would buy from you, right? If you didn't know yourself, you would buy from you because this content is so good, right? That's the feeling you want to have about your marketing and your branding. So to create a brand, right, the first thing was lead with empathy, right? You got to empathize with your customers. Number 2 was map the buyer's journey. And here's the buyer's journey template. I'll drop the link in the comments so you all can grab a free copy if you want. But the Acceleration Nation people should already have this. And the next step for us is I'm going to open up my calendar to my Acceleration Nation members so that you can book a one-on-one with me or Jen, and we'll help you with mapping the buyer's journey for your organization. So if you're interested in that and you're a member of Acceleration Nation, go ahead, hit me up, or use the link that you used last time, and we'll work this out for y'all. All right, so that's one. All right, y'all tell me if that was helpful, okay? I'm gonna check in. All right, cool. So now, the first one was lead with empathy. Second thing was map the buyer's journey. The third thing I'm gonna show you is create buyer personas. All right, you have to understand who your target buyer is. This is who we call the your MVPs, right? Your MVPs are your most valuable payers or buyer personas. This is the third thing. So the first one was lead with empathy. Number two was map the buyer's journey. And now number three is create buyer personas. What is a buyer persona, right? A buyer persona is a fictional, generalized representation of who your ideal customer is, of who your MVP is, okay? They help you to understand your customers and empathize with them on a different level, on a deeper level, okay? You can create as many as you want. I always say at least start with three. You need at least three buyer personas because all your buyers have different situations and you want to be able to talk directly to them, okay? Now, you have a couple different types of buyer personas. There's also a negative buyer persona. These are the people that you don't want as a customer, okay? For example, you don't want people who are going to haggle, negotiate, who's not going to understand the value, who is a cheapskate and doesn't like to spend money. I don't know what your criteria is, but there's certain levels and types of people that you may not want to deal with because they're not a good fit for your brand. You also need to profile them because you need to be able to recognize the red flags. So you can say, hey, is this a good person who's a good fit for what we do? Or is this a person who's going to give me a hard time and frustrate my process and lead to bad service, right? So you need to understand those red flags so that you can understand what buyers you need to target and which buyers you need to avoid, okay? How do you use buyer personas? You use buyer personas in order to target your marketing and content toward your audience and the different audience and customer segments that are needing what you have so badly that they'll pay any price and jump through loops in order to work with you, okay? And you want to work with those people because they're in these specific situations. And situations can vary, right? It could be 100 or 1,000,000 different situations, but that's the whole reason why you can create multiple buyer personas. And of course, this is a working document. This evolves over time, right? So I'll jump into how to create a buyer persona very quickly. And then I'll, again, drop the link so you all can try this and do it yourself, right? So first, you want to give your person a name. One of the things I like to do is also add a photo, right? I'll also add a photo of who my buyer persona is. And that way, when I'm creating content, instead of talking to strangers, I'm talking to Sample Sally. Or you can give your buyer persona her own name. You can call her Sasha Fierce, Tamara Spanks, whatever you want to name her, right? It could be a guy. It could be anyone that's transgender, that has a transgender name. It's up to you on who you're targeting and why, right? So one of the first things that you want to do is give them a name, give them an actual personality, right? Imagine this fictional person is real, but you're also combining this with actual data, right? So you can combine this with your social media insights, with your website insights. From that, you can gather, some of the genders who are engaging with your content the most, the areas, the location, the geographical area, what browsers, what devices they're using. You can get a whole lot of information from your insights, combine that there, and then also combine it with information that you get from actual customers, like profile some of the customers that you have. Do you see some common characteristics? Are they working professionals? Are they stay-at-home moms? Just gather all that information and then start building these personas. So for Sample Sally, we want to consider her background, right? So does she have a job? Is she a working mom? Does she have kids? How many kids? Is she married, right? These are all important things because they influence her buying decision, right? Because if you're a banker and you're trying to sell someone an investment product, then you might want to sell them a college plan for their kids if they have kids that are like high school or younger, right? So this is the importance of having these buyer personas so you can begin to empathize with the specific situations of every buyer type that's in your audience, okay? So for some, if you're working with working professionals, what's their career path? What's their current job level? Are they a mid-level manager and they're looking to get a promotion, but they need some good strategies and skills? Then maybe you can offer some personal professional development that'll help them get there. So that's the background. That's number two. Number three, you want to consider demographics. What's the age? You can be, sexist, racist, whatever it is. You can be very specific with these buyer personas, but I also recommend that you be very diverse in them, okay? So you can create one buyer persona who is a white lady who's 50 years and older, and she may, be retired, but you can also create one who's an African-American college student who maybe had a kid, in her later years in college and now has a Fortune 500 career, and she's trying to balance her career and family at the same time as a single mother. I don't know. You create the scenario and you put it in this buyer persona template, and that way you can better understand what her motivations and goals and challenges are. Now, Once you have those demographics of her age, income, what city she's in, is she in a rural town, a big city, you can start talking about some key identifiers, right? For example, what are their communication preferences? If you're an older person, let's say age 70 or higher, right, you may not feel very comfortable with communicating by email. You may prefer phone calls, face to face. But if you try to get someone who's 80, 90 years old on a Zoom call, you might struggle a little bit, right? So you want to consider some of those things that are very unique to that specific type of persona. And then secondly, the part two is the what. So the part one is the who, the part two is the what. What are their goals? What are the challenges? And what can you do to help, right? What's the primary goals? And with the primary goals, there are secondary goals, right? So the primary goal, hey, I want to be a millionaire. Who doesn't want to be a millionaire, right? I mean, and millionaire is not even really a key status anymore. Like, of course, I would love to have $1 million, but I'll be honest with you, $1 million is probably not going to be enough to me when I make $1 million. So obviously, if you're a business person, you want to have $1 million business. Or if you're not even at that level yet, you want to be a 6-figure business. But in order to get there, what's your second goal, right? Hey, I want to increase my social media following. I want to get 10 customers a month. I want to get 5 clients on retainer, right? So there's secondary goals in addition to the primary goals. What are the challenges in the way of them achieving those goals, right? What are some things that are standing in the way? I don't have the right expertise. I don't have time. I don't have the right staff, the workforce. You want to ask these questions to get a better understanding of your persona of Sample Sally. And based on these goals and challenges, what can you do to help them get there, right? This is you talking internally. Hey, because of this, this, and this, I feel like we can connect this dot to there and then this to this. That's your solution, right? So you want to put your solution in what we can do. Once you do that, come up with some real quotes. What are some things that Sample Sally would actually say to a friend, right? If she's talking with her girlfriend or with her husband, what are some things that she would say about her goals and challenges? Baby, I'm frustrated because I can't buy, right? I really, really want to get to this so that I can do this. What are some things that she would actually say? Now, if she said those things, right, and you offered her the solution that we talked about in the what are some things that she might say to push back? What are some reasons that she might say no? That's where you will put in common objectives. And then on part 3 is the why, right? Your marketing message is, now that you know Sample Sally, you got to know her, you know exactly where her motivations goes, you know what her background is. What's something that you would actually say to her from her experience? That marketing message can be any number of things. It can be multiple things. It may not even fit on this page. And that's good. That's perfectly fine, because that is the content you should be talking about on social media, in email messages, in your proposals, in your face-to-face consultations and meetings. Your marketing message should respond to everything from the previous 3 slides. Okay? Are y'all getting this? And then from there, you can develop your elevator pitch to talk about the who, what, when, where, why, all in one sentence, okay, within 30 seconds. So I gave you my elevator pitch at the beginning of the video. If you missed it, you can go back and see it. But come up with your elevator pitch that should answer these same questions: who, what, when, where, why. All right? Who, what, when, where, why, and how. But of all of them, the why is most important. So that's the third thing for today. And then I'm going to cut it short there. I usually do a live demo, but I don't really have time because I gotta go get the kiddos. So I'm sorry if I was talking so fast. I just was trying to hurry up and get through all of this. But again, you can always get back with me in the comments or in my inbox. I'm always happy to help you all. I'm still doing $20 clarity sessions where I give you all about 30 minutes and we can help solve a problem, right? So if you need a problem solved and you're having a goal that you're trying to get to, and you're not sure how to get there, for just $20, I'll show you the way, all right? I'll drop the link for that clarity call in the comments as well. But until then, thank you for tuning in. Again, please tag a friend, like, share. And if you're interested in getting one-on-one seminars and webinars and free webinars and lots of content that we're dropping to help you with growing your business, you should join Acceleration Nation. If this was helpful to you, again, please like, comment, share, let me know, because I don't want to do this for no reason. Type thank you, type this was great in the comments, say thank you, B, something. And then go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. You can find us at Be Easy Graphics. Everywhere, I'll type that in the comments. And again, these are just some tools that we use in order to empathize with our customers so that we can create content and brands that people will love. If you still need some work and some additional help with creating a brand that people love, go ahead and contact us. I'll drop the link to the form below. My team is standing by and happy to help tell your story. Once again, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you all next week at Wednesday. I'll see you all next week, Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. Until then, be easy.